everyone, and welcome. I'm here today with one of the cast members, Derrell Qualls, who played Donovan. And so we just wanted to get a feel for him and who he is as a person. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into acting?
So I was born in D.C., raised in PG County, Maryland. I attended Clemson University, where I have a bachelor's in mathematical sciences.
Mathematical sciences, okay.
Yes, I graduated, came back home to Maryland from Clemson, and I pursued professional wrestling. I was a professional wrestler for the past 7 years, and then decided to go to an acting class with a friend, and decided to stay. Took some classes, and after my first 6 weeks of classes, I auditioned. Actually, I sent you the email, and you told me no. And then the next week, you was like, just audition anyway, and I sent you Donovan, and the rest was history. Here we are.
So wait a minute, hold on. You're saying 6 weeks after you started acting classes, after you made a decision to start acting, this was actually your first gig?
Absolutely.
Wow, wow. And when I tell you guys that at first I did say no. I was like, no, he just doesn't fit. And then a couple of the people who were watching it with me said, let's look at the whole thing. Look at the whole clip. At least you owe him that much, right? And I was like, you're right. I owe him that much to look at the whole clip. And we were like, oh yes, he had Donovan down packed. And I will say that you did it so well that I didn't think you were acting. So you're gonna love Donovan character. Now he is mean in the movie, but he's a sweetheart in person. And so tell us, so you said you're a professional wrestler, so you're still doing that?
I am.
And what's your professional wrestling, because everybody got a name?
Moses.
Moses?
Yes.
Interesting. And Moses. And why Moses?
It used to be Malcolm Moses, a blend between Moses in the Bible and Malcolm X. But once I made it to TV, they wanted to drop just to make it one name, so I chose Moses over Malcolm.
Okay. And so, did you relate to the character in any way in the movie? How so? And tell us a little bit about that.
So I think that was the funny thing. I did not relate to Donovan at all.
Okay.
But when I read Donovan, I was like, well, this will be challenged, but I do have something to draw from because my uncle semi-lived the life that Donovan lived.
Okay.
And just from listening to like my family talk about him and Googling and seeing like his mugshots, this might not be too hard to figure out. And so I remember the audition was the first scene was the bed scene. And I also remember acting class, they was like, make a choice. Right, and I said, I can play it safe, I can leave a shirt on, but I was like, no, it says you waking up. I was like, get naked. And so that's what I did, and I made sure to go for it. And I know even throughout rehearsals, I tried pushing the limits when it came to certain vocabulary, but you had to pull me back sometime. But it was fine, because I at least saw how far I could go with the character.
And so that's a good point. How do you get prepared for a character? So are you saying you do research about people that are similar to that character, or you pull from, like you said, your family member? Like, how do you get into the zone? Because if you're nothing like him, then how do you pull into the zone, because you did it so well? So
for me, it was, I've listened to multiple interviews about well-known actors and what they do, and they say, well, if not a lot is given about the character, they just create a biography for that character on their own. They give them background, they give them a family, or they don't give them a family, which is how you can draw on maybe why they act the way they act now. And so I was like, all right, well, you don't know about Donovan outside of what you were presented with.
Right.
So I was like, all right, fine, I can just I'm free to do whatever I want here, but I also was able to say my uncle would have did this.
Okay.
My uncle probably would have did that.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I can do that. And those were the choices that I made throughout the film.
Yeah, and when we did rehearsals, because we rehearsed 4 weeks straight online through Zoom, and I can tell you that from the first week to the 4th week, I saw you take that character from one perspective all the way up to what it was. So I could tell you were actually studying that, and every week you brought something different and new. And I noticed that. I don't know if you know I noticed that, but I noticed, I was like, oh, okay, he's serious about this.
Yes.
And the other thing is that I noticed that you and I were the only ones who this was our first time acting. So that y'all just got a little teaser there that I'm also acting for the first time. But I was a little concerned bringing a first-time actor, because even though this was my first film, I wanted someone with experience. And so I kept thinking, okay, is he going to bring it? Is he going to bring it? You brought it. You brought it. So let's see, I had another question for you. So is there anything from the movie that you learned or that stretched you? I can't say that. Stretched you.
Being flexible with the acting. So like with wrestling, it's a lot of improv, right? Like it's me and my opponent, and I'm free to create within the time that I'm out there. But with acting, you're almost limited because you're presented with lines. These are the lines that the person who wrote them want presented in a certain way. And so it was, okay, finding my ability to bring to it, but also give my piece to it. It was kind of like, oh, okay, this is what separates actors. And I was like, okay, this is my first one. I'm doing the best that I can, but I know down the road it can be better.
Yeah.
So it's just, I know sometimes it'll be, we'll do it, cut, Derrell, change this. All right, do it again, cut. All right, that was fine, now change this. Well, you didn't say that the first time. So why are we changing it now? But it's just fine. Like, and it's being okay with changing and changing on the fly, which is what we do in wrestling anyway. So that part wasn't too hard, but it was. You can come in with a game plan, but you can do something totally different than what you thought you were going to do, which is perfectly fine.
Right. And I was hoping that as a first-time director, that I allowed the characters to bring some stuff to the table. Like, I didn't want to be so, it's the way the script, I want it this way, you know? So I wanted you guys to get into it and to own that character, and you guys did. So I appreciate that. And so is there anything else that you want to tell the audience as we wrap up?
Yes, this film has a very, very powerful message. And even though I am the antagonist in the film, from the outside looking in, I am very thankful for being a part of it, because I think I got the point that was trying to be made as the antagonist. Especially the last scene with Tremayne and I outside of the house. That was a really good line that he delivered. And I wanted to rebuttal, but I was like, I'm not going to take away from this moment.
And I love that you didn't do that.
Because I wanted to.
Because even as a director, I was like, oh, should he? And then I was like, no, because your face and where you were in the end of the story, it was perfect. Like, you didn't need to do anything else.
No.
And it was so perfect. So I'm glad you didn't give it away to the audience.
No.
But yes, excellent job doing that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
And you did an amazing job. For it to be your first time being a director, I mean, I've never had to experience it, but I've had to be around a lot of producers of live TV wrestling. It was an amazing job. It was an amazing job on your part. Like, you opened up your home. You literally didn't sleep for I don't know how many days. 10,000 questions being asked. I'm thinking, I'm glad I'm not her. I need to know these lines. I don't got time to answer all this other stuff. So I just want to say thank you for having me, and for that being my first. I know that I want to pursue this further.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. Look out for Derrell Qualls as Donovan. Y'all are gonna love him, even though like he said, he's the antagonist. Peace. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.